Hello and welcome, everybody. Oh, we didn't
Dude.
do a thumbnail picture. Oh
Oh,
no!
I've not even done a social post.
Oh
Ah,
no! Well, anyways, this is episode 162 of the Immaterial Live podcast series. Well, it wasn't originally a live podcast series, but it's now a live podcast series.
yes, it is. It
So,
has mutated.
at the top left, you have me, Mr. Me, Terry or Dark X, whatever you want to call. And Stefan wants to be famous.
Okay.
On the
You
top
go.
right, over this way, we have D, or Neltu, in his gamer names, one of his most common gamer names now. And then
Yeah.
there's this weird guy that shows up every other week, sometimes
Except
4
when they
weeks
do 3 on the bounce.
4 in a row. I think it was 4 in a
Yeah.
row.
Oh god, it was it. Oh man,
Yeah.
I blanked a lot of it. Right, Ryan.
That's Ryan, or not him again, as we all know.
Yeah.
And we are the Immaterial team. Well, not the whole Immaterial team, but a decent portion of the Immaterial team. The other members, they're not that important. I'm just kidding. We love all of our members. They're all good to us. So we'll start with our normal little routine of what's been played. What's been played.
I'm falling off a very steep cliff.
Stefan wants to kill me. That's not very nice.
Steph.
So we usually go top left to bottom right, so I will go first. And
I thought who was on first?
yeah, but
Ah.
so yeah, what have I played? Well, played some TFT because my cousin was over last week, which is why he was in the podcast.
Yeah.
And played a whole bunch of TFT with him while he was here because we have a laptop that can handle TFT. And well, it can handle a lot more than TFT, but it's not my laptop, and I don't want to have to clean the hard drive off too much, so I didn't want to install too much on it.
Good choice.
Especially like Grand Theft Auto, which would take up the whole hard drive.
Oosh.
Yeah.
No, I'm too good for ARAM. Too good for ARAM, Stefan.
I mostly play Aaron.
I'm too good for ARAM. You guys don't understand my score. I have 100% win rate with Gangplank. So I can't lose with Gangplank. I can't lose with Gangplank. See, Stefan, I probably would 1v1 you. But that's another time. Brain fart. What else have I played?
Oh.
I have been tempted to get back into Minecraft. I'm having a Minecraft urge, and I know Stefan probably is having a Minecraft Twitch too. See what I did there? I linked Twitch into there.
Well, in a few seconds. There we go.
But yeah. Other than that, I've played mostly X4. I played a lot of X4. A lot of it was live streamed, and a lot of AFK time was not live streamed. Maybe that's what I should just start doing. Leaving Twitch active on a live stream for days. Watching my X4 just sit there doing nothing. I wonder how many viewers we would get. Average viewers of -1.
I'd be desperate.
Negative viewers of...
Well, as one of the current top X4 streamers on Twitch.
Yeah. That was...
How did we get to that point?
I mean, it's not a very common game. I guess it's... In all fairness, if I wasn't introduced to the game, I would have never heard of it. Like, they don't advertise. And Ubisoft is kind of... Like, it's a reasonably big company, but it's not huge. So... Stefan's already been looking at Minecraft stuff. But yeah, like it's just like, have you ever seen an advertisement for the X series games? Maybe a Steam pop up when it came on when it was to be released
No,
or something like that.
I have seen things for it.
Have you?
Yep.
Like where? Like just on Steam probably. Like when it goes on sale and stuff like that. I've never seen any advertisements for it.
There was a trailer thing that was floating around for a while on
Oh
one of the
really?
ad services. Yeah.
See, I've never
I can tell you I haven't.
I've never seen an advertisement for it. Sorry about those stupid pings. Google Chrome notifications decided they wanted to come through. All of my Twitch subscriptions or YouTube subscriptions that I'm waiting for are coming through now during our podcast. Thank you guys. So Stefan's actually seen them in Facebook ads. That's just because your phones are tracking you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been talking about it. Your phone's overheard, so now it's tracking you. There you go.
Probably.
Proof's in the pudding. Because the game's pretty old now, it shouldn't be advertised anymore. But Danny's playing with his 3Ps in the pod. Are we the 3Ps in the pod? Look at us. We're the 3Ps in the pod. We are surrounded in green on the stream. So look, who's the smiling one? Don't squish the smiling one. There's the smiling one right below us. Oh, he's turning the smiling one's head off. He's twisting his head off.
Fine.
Oh, there goes Ryan's head. But yeah,
I can't keep doing that and doing what I'm doing.
Had a pretty decent X4 stream today, and yeah, spent quite a bit of hours on that because the people seem to be very happy. So, other than that,
quite popular.
Yeah. Other than that, I haven't played much. I don't really want to talk about the X4 because I spent 5 hours streaming it. You can go watch the stream or wait till it goes onto YouTube and fast forward through it because I don't think you can play at 2 times speed on Twitch.
You cannot.
So wait till it goes onto YouTube and then you can watch it at 2 times speed. But don't forget to give it a thumbs up. We like thumbs ups. Danny, what have you played?
Well, that's kind of Warframe and LoL has been two of the things. I completed the Henry Stickman collection. I've 100%ed that.
Henry Stickman collection. What is that?
It's the game
one of our recent play sessions that we did.
Yeah, we did it as a play session a few weeks back, and I kind of liked it. You play as a stick figure going through a series of like puzzle things with multiple endings and fails.
How did I miss that one?
It's funny as fuck. It was me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ryan was the Henry. Me, Stefan, Andrew, and Duncan were all taking turns in figuring out what Henry was going to do next.
Yeah, I'd say one could class it as a point and click adventure game. I would more say it's a point and fail game.
Point and fail game.
Point and fail hilariously.
Yeah, but yeah, I 100% did it, so I had to use the walkthrough for the red ones.
Okay.
For the red achievements. Well, I got some of them by mistake, but some of them, the red achievements were the rare achievements, where it's like, click on this guy, click on this guy, click on this guy, do this. Now go to this bit of the shit. Now do this. It's like, what else? And then the game that I've been playing because of Amazon is House Flippers.
Amazon.
The Amazon game, they've got a free Game Pass for it. The premium content, yeah. For mobile.
First I've heard of this.
But it's on the Amazon Gaming. They give you till December. They're giving away the Game Pass.
Oh, okay.
So you can get the Game Pass if you link your Amazon and the game up.
Okay.
So thought I'd give it a go.
I just noticed that Dee's camera's coming out of the bottom of his border. Oh well.
Oh, it's fine.
It's not that important. No. Not your actual. On my stream. I just noticed that the The camera's actually slight wrong. Oopsies. Oh well.
I have to get these. There we go. But yeah, it's house flippers is just basically you buy a house, do it up, and then sell it, rinse, repeat,
Yeah.
and it costs energy. Well, elbow grease is your energy basically,
Elbow grease. Put that elbow grease in there.
and then you refill every so often. There's a like a station thing that you click on every few hours, and it'll give you the thing to do more stuff. I've unlocked 4 areas so far.
Alright.
Um,
So that's all you played, or have you played more?
Started to try play Legos of Pirates of the Caribbean, but it was really bad to try and play with a mouse and keyboard. But my pad, well, this pad, my Blue Nebula pad, the left thumbstick going up won't go properly. So you sat there going, move up, no, move up, please. It's like,
What's it
nah.
got a dead spot in it, or?
Yeah,
Oh dear.
when it
That
goes straight
makes.
up, going up on the thumb pad, it's fine. Left, right, down, but up is a new, and up's pretty important
Yeah, up's usually pretty important.
on the left thumbstick.
You can't
But
walk forward.
yeah, basically. It's
Who
like,
needs
oh,
to walk forward?
it's just like, and when you're trying to play precision like stuff, it's just like no. So I've ordered a new one. I've ordered a new one, and that came through. So I've been slightly downgraded actually. That's an Xbox One pad. The new one's the 360 pad.
Yeah, but I think the 360 ones lasted longer, to be honest.
Mm,
I've
but
heard less problems with them.
But yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm gonna probably go through Lego Pirate Caribbean as my single player thing, unless someone wants to dual play. Because me and Martin did try with Martin was playing the one with Harry Potter, and it can be remote played.
Okay.
So we could do a remote play of Lego.
Interesting. Maybe I'll try that.
Um,
All right.
one person uses a mouse and keyboard, the other person uses a pad.
Well, I'd have to use mouse and keyboard, so I don't like pads. You like pads, so that would work out. All right, Mr. Ryan, what have you played?
Right, okay. So this is currently less what's been and what is currently being played at the moment.
Your voice keeps cutting out.
Yeah, because everything's like
Oh,
noise reduction is trying its best.
Oh, okay.
oh, now I see that crack in the screen that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
Anyway,
well,
yeah.
slightly tilted.
Final Fantasy 14.
Final
Online.
Fantasy 14 online.
Yeah, as opposed to Final Fantasy 14 offline. Doesn't exist.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got back into it recently. I originally played the complete edition
Okay.
last year, but then sort of let it lapse. But I was actually enjoying it, and I've just got back in. And given that I've started to currently enjoy World of Warcraft less, and that's not just because of, you know, the segment that we'll get to in the news.
You could say it.
Due to what the fuck Blizzard, or what is actually technically now being called WTF ABK, Activision Blizzard, because we turn out it's not just Blizzard. It's
So
the entire
what's the last one?
company.
Activision Blizzard.
K, so it's King.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
Candy Crush and all.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. I'd want to forget as well. But I think we'll still call it What the Fuck Blizzard.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better. A
But
lot of
yeah,
it has to do with
it's just
their parent company. Well, the parent company, but
yeah. But sort of part of the issues that I've just got with WoW at the moment is it's designed to be played like a mobile, but a subscription price. and that's sort of like there's not enough in terms of daily content anymore, and reputation grind and stuff that would actually keep you on there.
Well, yeah.
So you have to pay for it, but it's not got enough to pay for?
Effectively, yeah.
That seems great.
All you gotta do at this point, you're basically just grinding pointlessly.
Yeah. And there's a severe lack of content per major pack.
And it's like, oh, here's a new here's a new ring, so here's 3 bosses.
Well, no, it's not even. Yeah, I mean, it's not even really that. It is basically the stuff that you would have got on a minor pack, they're releasing as a major pack. So
To be honest, I got flying and then just went, nah, I'm done.
yeah. So I've got back into the currently more enjoyable personally
The Final Fantasy series.
Final Fantasy 4.
Do you have your thing just disabled instantly? I think that's the problem.
Oh, my push to talk.
Yeah, because the very last bit of your words are getting cut off a little bit.
That's possible. Maybe I should let go once I finished a sentence.
That might
That might
work.
help.
Because like you're clear, it's just like, so this is, and that's done.
Oh.
And it was just the very, very tips of the ends were getting cut off.
Yeah, you might want to give it a second.
Stupid Discord.
So yeah,
But
all right,
but
keep
yeah.
going.
So I've got now into what is currently the most recent expansion of the called Shadowbringers.
Okay.
So the game's been out for 8 to 10 years, but there is only 4 expansions. They release them a lot less frequently than WoW does. So it's virtually every 18-month step.
Oh, well, I was about to say. Well,
Yeah,
it'll be 2 years.
but
2.5.
Final Fantasy also paces its content a bit better.
Mm.
And they have giant story quests, and there's a lot of content in there to do that's off the beaten track and not so. So you got A Realm Reborn, which is the base game, and then you have a Heaven's Ward. It's weird. It's supposed to be like Heaven's Ward, but it's Heaven's Sword. Sorry, one moment. Like giant spaceships fly. Then
I like
Stormblood,
spaceships.
which is like Far Eastern inspired, and then Shadowbringers, which is parallel universe inspired.
Ooh, parallel universe.
Yeah,
Things get
over
really
the
complicated when you start adding parallel universes and stuff.
and there is a big giant overarching story that goes along it of why there's the parallel universes and stuff like that. But I'm playing it now because I'm trying to catch up, ready for the next expansion that's coming out soon, Endwalker. And what's really helpful at the moment is that expansions going forward, so they have quests that they call main scenario quests. Big story quests, you need to do them to progress with the story and move on to the expansions. You can't skip them. So if a new expansion comes out, you've still got to complete the story before you get to
Kind of you think
that expansion.
kind of makes sense.
Yeah, they want you to keep going.
It's
And
like
to experience the story, not just skip it a la WoW. It's like, oh, this stuff happened in Northrend, but you don't need to worry about it. Come here.
well, it was just basically now it's especially now with the time walking thing, you can just choose which expansion you want to level in.
Yeah. But oh yeah, nice typing there. Do your story, Ryan. Ryan is a story. But the way it was held off a little bit is because everyone's gone onto that new content. Some of the missions require you to complete dungeons or their duties, and because everyone skipped to the end of the content, they don't queue for those dungeons, so you had to wait forever. So that held you off. Going forward from Stormbringers, and I heard they're bringing it into Endwalker as well, is what they call the trust system. Basically, you can solo the dungeons with an AI party that is pretty damn adaptive.
Okay.
Therefore, saving you from having to
waiting in a queue for
wait in 20-minute queue for a dungeon with a bunch of people who don't know how to complete it. Even though I'm going to say this as well, doing dungeons and telegraphing and like enemy movements is a lot more intuitive.
Mm.
Giant
it's like,
orange rings to let you know when they're
well,
attacking,
it's kind of like
arrows to tell you when to like bunch up together, donuts to tell you where like damage is and shit like that.
Yeah, it's very hard to understand
mm,
Oh,
well,
it's better
it's
now.
for a 3-year-old.
but
Yeah.
no, what was it? It's like when they do the new expansion though in like WoW. I got stuck because the new expansion came out and you can't do no one queues for the freaking dungeon anymore.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
Dungeon Finder and toxicity in WoW is at a fucking massive high, and given the stuff that's happened in what the fuck Blizzard, it's kind of expected.
where it
And
was
that also explains why people who left that company end up making companies where that culture lived on. But that's a soapbox moment. That's not a podcast moment.
what was it?
Thing that you like that used to put you off on this day, raids, yeah, and raid finder, and the fact that that put you off because of having to do virtually picture perfect mechanics over and over again. Yeah. May I present to you trials, larger like group based content where if you fail, but the game has determined that you've put in an admirable effort,
Okay.
a good effort, it will then buff your stats permanently for the remainder of that trial fight.
Okay.
So use learn, use adapt, and you'll be a little bit stronger so you can get to the point that wiped you the first time, and then hopefully overcome it. And every time you keep wiping, you'll get more stats. And over. So it's teaching you in a way that doesn't just like hold you off of go, oh right, we don't think you're good enough, so fuck off.
Or it's
Yeah,
like when you do. It's just
you
like
do the
when.
same fight like 12 times and you don't get anywhere.
Well, it was
So
like
Yeah.
it's
And then your
what was
raid leader says, fuck you all, you're all shit, and you realise he's the only one that doesn't have the achievement.
yeah.
It's just like Matt and Chris and stuff were doing the Sludge Fist. They spent what was it, 7 weeks trying to down it,
See, as far as enjoyability goes, no one has time for that.
and they did like
Ain't
12
nobody
hour
got
days.
time for that.
They did like 8 hours straight of trying to down Sludge Fist every week
Yeah,
for
it's
over 2 months.
Yeah, people
With
want
the
to
guild.
experience the story and enjoy it. Which at the end of the day, Final Fantasy more than any other MMO really, including WoW, which has an extensive narrative.
Plenty of story and
It's
stuff.
it's got a really good yeah. But
It's got
I guess the problem is that WoW gates it a lot
mm,
under the you're not good enough to experience this vibe.
or it's just basically like you find a storyline and you start like, oh, this is fun, and then you've got to wait, and then it's like, wait, what?
Oh yeah, that as well. Gating
yeah.
it behind weekly content.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like come back next week. It's like, oh,
And believe me, I understand it's a subscription game. You know, you want people coming back, but you want people like actually coming back and playing, don't you? Not turning up for the tiny bit of engagement and then leaving.
it's not worth. It's like it takes about what half an hour to do the dailies and stuff when
Yeah,
at end game. So you play in half an hour like a week. So is that really worth like the tenner a month? So you
I,
basically in 250 for like an hour of content a week.
Yeah.
and I'd say not really. And I mean, what do people then say? Oh, re-roll, make another character. What
Do
do
the
the
grind
exactly the
all
same
over
thing?
again.
Yeah.
Let's just do
How
the
about
exact
now?
same thing over again with slightly different spells.
Sure. Um,
That's the thing on this. This has like multiple classes, usual fare, archers, tanks, heal, mages,
Mages.
all that shit. But they all feel different. They
Mm.
all have unique experience.
Well, that's one of the things I liked about Rift is
Yeah,
they had a lot of. Obviously, you have to have some similarities to
Original.
the to well some similarities to like the basic four of like ranger, melee, caster and a sort of a tanky kind of thing. But they started to
Mhm.
merge like DPS and healers, and so like everything was kind of merging together, and it was always kind of neat. Like for example, I used to love chloromancers because I like being a healer, but I healed people by dealing damage to things.
Yeah, it's like what was it? Part of one of the shadow specs. You basically deal a whole bunch of this damage, and it was like, yep.
Well,
Part of that you
shadow
have to heal.
priests used to be able to do that in
You can
Warcraft,
still
but
you
not
can still do it, but it was just like it's like
chloromancers were actually rated as a healer.
yeah.
Like they didn't do as much damage as a DPS,
Hmm.
but they do damage, and based on their performance in dealing damage, they also heal.
Hmm.
And it was different. It wasn't just the same thing. Like it wasn't just your same like. Well, you're either just a healer, or you're just a tank, or you're just like a damage kind of character. You could do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you could just basically respec on the fly.
I don't necessarily think it was respecing. It was more just like certain even casters. Some casters could tank, like take hits. It was just how they were. It's just how those classes were played.
It was
Mm.
it was depending on your loadout, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say with Final Fantasy, like I said, every race feels different because they have different mechanics. Like for example, an archer, which then becomes a bard, they have stances that they can jump into on the fly, and they provide different bonuses for your party as you're doing. Take that into account. The samurai, who has like 3 stances that they every time they attack change his stance, so it's like sort of ordering their moves in a more traditional rotation. Black Mage had a weird elemental system that sort of persuaded you to change elements on the fly for it to cost less mana.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So, and then it'd have a dump like spell afterwards to sort of reset it all and all that. So it's like everything is sort of different in that sense. I mean, like I say, if you like WoW, you like WoW. That's cool. But certainly it's a good alternative. So I'd give it a try as well. I don't want to be the meme, but Final Fantasy and the first expansion are free to play
as
Okay.
all
in it
open
in
world
its
things seem
entirety.
to be doing. Yeah.
So
So are we moving on to?
yeah, I'd say so.
So let's move on to what the fuck, Blizzard.
Oh God, yes. Like I say, I
What
can't see
what
it
have they
in
done now?
the screen.
I
Okay,
got it pulled up
so
if you want me to read it.
yeah, go for it. I'll
So
provide my opinion after.
a day after our podcast last week, which didn't
As
have
per usual.
yeah, which didn't have that much about what the fuck Blizzard. It just had a little bit, and I went on non-stop rants that I don't want to get involved in again. um, Danny, you would have been perfect to be in that rant. Because I kept trying to dig myself back out of the hole.
Ah,
I just wiped. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, I thought you were reacting to what I just said to Danny. I was like, it's the last week was more about like how Blizzard wasn't being, or Activision Blizzard, all of them were dead naming and
Oh yes.
getting into like not respecting people transitioning and stuff like that.
mm,
So you would have been perfect to add
dead
some
naming's
color
not.
to.
Well, dead naming's really annoying. To a point.
Yeah, well, I said that yeah, it's not nice to do, but they had some systems like payroll systems and stuff like that that were using their original name or their legal name, um, which they kind of have to do. Like
Mm.
if you haven't legally changed your name, they have to use that in any contracts, any like any pay stuff like that, it has to
Yeah.
have your name that's on card.
On
But
your P45.
yeah, or social insurance or whatever it is in the States. I can't remember.
Social security.
Social security yet. But yeah, that's last week's news. The day after that podcast, we got some more news.
Well, they're done this time.
I don't know. They're just trying to shred some of their evidence, that about their abuse and stuff like that they've done to some of their employees and such. So from what it's saying, it's just like nonstop. Where is it? I've lost where I was now. Yeah, basically just towards their sexual harassments, all sorts of stuff. Trying to find where I read it, but I can't find it now. It's just nonstop though with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently they've been shredding evidence, and
it doesn't exist if it's been shredded. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work that way.
That's basically what they went for. But on the other hand of that, because this has all come from the Department of the Fair.
The Department of Housing
Department of Fair Housing and Employment. Was it DeFee? I'm trying to think of the decent acronym for it. But yeah, they've expanded their lawsuit now to all workers as opposed to all employees. So now this includes temporary and contract staff.
Oh wow.
Who may have been involved with abuse and harassment in the workplace during their tenure.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's
take that into account.
Yeah, I see that now. But yeah,
That's bad news.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks ago was the terrible working conditions. Last week.
There was last week was Activision removing their name from the Call of Duty
logo.
franchise.
Their logo and their name from the trailer and all that of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
To try to make sure people still buy their game.
Yeah, the trailer literally said Call of Duty presents.
Yeah.
Instead of, Activision presents a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
So yeah, there has basically been something involving Activision Blizzard King at least once a week for the past 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's why we've added the what the fuck Blizzard portion to our.
Give it feeling.
What the fuck Blizzard?
There you go.
But yeah,
mate.
So what's the other news I remember putting in? Oh yeah, do you like Worlds?
I like our world.
You like our world. So okay, I guess this more explains to me the question. Ryan, do you like Worlds? Yeah, I do. Were you tired of it constantly being held in China, where it was 8 hours ahead, which meant that the VAT matches were always happening during your workday? Well, have we got a news for you? Due to the fact that coronavirus cases have increased in China, it's not being held there anymore. It's being held in an undisclosed location of Europe.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are the worlds?
It's also the matches are also going to be set up so they're going to be 8 hours ahead, so they're going to happen during your work day.
Well, they got to stick to the times that the rest of the world is used to.
Well, it's not the rest of the world. The apology video that had come out from the head of esports at Riot basically was an apology to China. That's China and Korea are their biggest viewing audiences. As much as we love the LEC, and the LEC is the most popular region of local play, internationally, it's China and Korea.
I need to add something into this, Ryan. Just sort of scrolling back to the what the fuck Blizzard link that you gave me.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah,
It's
hold on, back into mode. What the fuck, Blizzard?
well, it's not really what the fuck Blizzard, but it kind of is actually. So the website. Oh, we didn't actually do sources this time.
Oh
Good.
yeah, it's because I've not been
Yeah.
copying and pasting.
Let
them
me
in.
do. So that's the source for the what the fuck Blizzard thing. But I just love how it says get email alerts on news stories. On you can select Activision Blizzard or Activision or video game companies or video game publishers.
You know
So
you've made it there, though.
you know you made it when everybody's well. Hey, there's the old saying. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Maybe they got a
Oh,
maybe they got something going for them. They're getting talked about. I think this is bad publicity though.
just I'd
But yeah, that's the source for that one. I'm assuming you're talking about the next one that was there, the worlds.
put
So I'll
yeah yeah one was basically a we're letting you know it's happening, and then the other was a confirmation because it happened in the space of 8 hours.
all right. Well, I'm going to. Damn it! Too many windows.
Too many windows, not enough locks.
That's the source to that one in there. And then you said the second one's sort of I have way too many windows. Oh, the other one's a link, like a YouTube video that I don't really want to click on.
Yeah, that's
But-
the video confirming, and that's the one with the apology. But I mean, it can be copied over so that people can see.
There we go. Yeah, I just had to copy it so that I didn't go into it and have the audio going through the stream. Actually, I muted my TV audio, so we would have been fine. But that's all good.
That's all. It's all good.
So
But
yeah.
so that's just it's happening in Europe. That's the big thing.
But what time is it going to happen?
They haven't confirmed it yet. I was only half joking.
It would be pretty
They
funny
half
though.
joking because
They probably
the last time
will.
it happened in Europe.
It probably will, to be honest, because like you said, they have to do it at a time that everybody can see it. You still have a chance of seeing it. It's not at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So
It'll be depending. I suppose they'll figure it out.
they
always
try
do.
to aim it so that it's in the awake hours of people for their most viewers. So like anywhere from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. basically is where they would aim it, or even 11 p.m. let's say. They try to aim it somewhere between those 12 hours, and they try to get the largest demographic that they can get. So, what else do we have for news?
I didn't have anything for news, but I did have a what I would like to call a big question.
A big question.
Yeah. So there is a video game that's come out that was announced at E3 a couple of years called 12 Minutes. And it's by Annapurna Interactive.
Okay.
Same people who released Telling Lies, that weird FMV like game that we, me, Duncan, Andrew, and Steph did for a PlayStation way back when.
Hold on a second. This is not good. Not good. Not good. Of course, my Chrome's audio would go through my headset, right? I went to Google, and what's at the very top of Google right now? Has anybody noticed?
Nope.
Oh, is it the little like Paralympic doodle game?
Yeah, there's a game. If you go to Google, you can actually play a game right now. And I opened Google, and my mouse just hovered down to it, and it opened up. I don't know if my key in opened it or what, but it just started playing through the stream.
Yeah.
As you did.
Sorry about that, Ryan.
So anyway, yeah, Annapurna Interactive, they did Telling Lies and a bunch of other games. And one of the games that was announced for E3 a couple of years back was called 12 Minutes, a point-and-click adventure set in a 12-minute time.
Okay.
It had like Hollywood voice actors, so it's Daisy Ridley, Rey from the Star Wars series,
Okay.
Okay.
James McAvoy, X-Men,
Yep.
Wanted, virtually anything that he doesn't have to have his Scottish accent, and Willem Dafoe, Spider-Man.
So that
Spieler,
name
who
sounds very familiar, but I couldn't think of who it was.
he was also in the game with Elliot Page. What's Beyond
Well, at least
Two
you
Souls?
didn't dead name.
Exactly. I made a. But yeah, so it's come out, and people are enjoying the concept of it, if not the story. And I'll give you this, and the spoiler warning, and this is where the big question comes. So, in the game, you're trying to the whole idea. You and your wife are about to have a baby, and a cop bursts through the door going, "Your wife killed my father," and basically arrests the pair of you, and he kills your wife. At which point, the main character wakes back up 12 minutes before it's due to happen again. And so the idea is to prevent that from happening and to find out why it's happened. Did your wife kill the father? Was this at all come up? And basically, long story short, it actually comes up to it that you're not just that's not just your wife. That's your half sister due to events of the game. And the cop
Oh God.
is actually a physical manifestation of your dad. And he's basically trying to persuade you to get out of this incestuous relationship that he had when he cheated on the nanny, which is why it's your half sister. You didn't know until you were married, or so it goes. So there's a lot of incest that comes to it.
This
And then
is very weird.
part of it, and there was a Kotaku article on this where it was basically a review, but it wasn't. It was an absolute deconstruction of basically you should hate this game, and if you don't like it, or if you like it, you are an evil human being, because the content in this game is so beyond the pale that people shouldn't be enjoying this as content. And to be fair, I kind of understand where that come from.
I get that, but when it comes to like storylines, I think any kind of storyline can interest you.
Mm-hmm. So
Doesn't necessarily mean you feel it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
You can be interested.
So there's the question comes up, because this is the thing. To get the information that leads you all to this, you had to do an action where you drugged your wife to persuade her to learn that you were in a time loop. And then you had to basically torture the cop for information in order to find out that he was your father and whatnot. So the big question, and technically there's two on this, is there is there taboo content that should never be used in an interactive medium like video games? And if not, what's the best way of of dealing with uncomfortable content? Because it happens in other games, doesn't it? It's, in horror,
there's
a
all
lot
kinds of times
messing around with the psychological background and stuff like that.
And there's all kinds of times where games have all kinds of disgusting things that happen, and we just accept it. Like, how many murder slaughter games and stuff like that do we play, or even first-person shooters where we're shooting people all the time?
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
I think a comment came back up onto this as well. The biggest thing that people were talking about was the whole, and this is probably an example where it wasn't done correctly. Grand Theft Auto 5, the torture mission, where as Trevor you had to try and extract information for the game's version of the CIA or whatever it was.
yeah,
The CIB. or something like that, just to make sure
Yeah,
that
I
they
can't
weren't.
remember what it was called, but yeah.
But yeah, so you spent the whole time torturing this guy, through various methods in order to get this information, and then the game, in the same Trevor instance, maybe this says more about Trevor than it does about anyone else, rescues the guy and escorts him to the airport away. In a whole torture is bad segment, but you've just spent in an interactive scene 10 minutes beforehand torturing a guy
Yeah.
because torture's good and it gets you the information you need. So that's probably one example of it not being done correctly.
I think
Could there still be stuff that has torture in it? Maybe.
I think it doesn't necessarily have to. How can I say it? It doesn't necessarily have to have a segment to turn it around and say it's not bad. Like, we
Mhm.
should know that it's bad.
Yeah.
I think that it needs to have some sort of pull away from reality of
Mhm.
some respect. Whereas you need to remember that it is a game. You are playing it for entertainment. It's not actual real. It's not something that's real. There has to be some sort of a disconnect, which is sort of what that scene did. It gave you a disconnect and then pulled you into, that's not right. Let's get him out of there and save him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, like, if we take the Kotaku article to what it is, it's like, no, like say that disconnect's required, especially during that whole bit of, if there's this issue about incest and stuff like that. Playing 12 minutes, and granted, they didn't advertise that this content was in there because they wanted to go, M Night, Shyamalan, and go, what a twist. So they didn't put it in there that
Yeah.
contains scenes of incest because that's going to give the whole game away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, basically saying to anyone, if you play this, you love incest, is no.
No. And the disconnect in that game, I feel there's a pretty strong disconnect because you reset every time something goes wrong.
Yeah.
So you automatically realize, wait a minute, this isn't real. It's starting over. Life doesn't start over. When something goes wrong, it doesn't start over. As much as we wish it could, it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the game, it also probably does because the ending is left open to interpretation. So one of the endings in the head is that maybe this is just the damaged psyche of a guy, and he's so in himself that all he sees is his mistakes, which keep recurring in 12-minute loop.
Well,
And that comes up.
That kind of makes me think of how there was a story about how Harry Potter was a story about a boy who was just abused and started to make up a story in his own head.
Yeah.
He was so abused and put into a closet that he basically made himself the most important person in the world.
Yeah, and he still didn't even get that right. Anyway.
But yeah, it's like that. Like, you could start to put your own twist on any of those stories. Like, you don't really know, and it's a story. You got to remember that it's fiction. It's fake. So
yeah,
it's for entertainment and
yeah. So I mean, personally, for me, I feel no content is off limits.
yeah. And if it bothers me, okay, then I won't use. Like, if I don't like it, I just won't play it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because I go for my biggest example of this in uncomfortable subject matter done right is the entirety of the game Hellblade: Svenja's Sacrifice, in which the main character of the game suffers from a severe mental condition that is put through the game as hearing voices in her head. It's basically like schizophrenia, but I think I've forgotten what it's actually termed. But the way that it's done mechanically in the game is that they tell you to wear headphones, binaural headphones, because the voices will go in surround sound. But it's just the voices in the character's head. She is absolutely like grief stricken by the loss of her husband or boyfriend or something, and war, and it just manifests as the voices in her head, and it's done very well. I mean, the guys who made it, Ninja Theory, they spoke to doctors, psychologists, they asked if this was all correct. They kept referring to them, and it's basically at that point it's authentic.
Mm.
And that's in there because people will be going, "Oh, you're exploiting someone's mental condition for entertainment." It's like, no, if you think and listen to the story, it's not.
It also gives people. It's how can I describe it?
You give some
'Cause
people awareness of certain things like that
it's
too.
like it's like when people go, this it's gonna go into a mental health thing that I could go into for days about it. I'm trying to figure out a way to sum it up. Some people go, well, it can't be that bad, and it's like, well, if you've got mental health conditions, you know how bad it can actually get. Like how far off the
Yeah, you
deep
don't
end.
know it unless you have them.
Unless you, if you know what I mean. It's it's like something. Oh, that's not that bad. I'm like, yeah, and if it's the if it's a trigger for you, if it's not triggering you, that then you like, oh, that's not that bad. And it's like, well, not everyone's going to be triggered the same way.
Yeah, I guess I can experience that as well. Of like, stuff that would be uncomfortable to some is not going to be uncomfortable to others.
Uh,
Hence why, a lot of people like horror and, body horror and all that stuff. And they're not, massively like affected by it. That's not to say at that point that they fucking enjoy it and they'd love to just go out in the street
No.
and do it. I mean, this just comes back to the whole video games murdering our youth
Yeah.
thing, which I also don't believe. I'm sorry, it's just not.
No.
Okay.
it, what game was it now? There was a game. Oh no, it's like Inside Out, the film Inside Out. It actually gives you quite a thing into mental health. It kind of explains it a bit. Without that context, you wouldn't necessarily understand some things.
Yeah.
It how can I describe it in words?
Well, no, it just brings awareness. That's exactly what it does. It helps bring awareness to people that don't really realize what's going on.
Yeah.
That's the simplest way to explain it. Like, there's no real. That's just the easiest way to basically say it. It's just. It helps bring
So,
awareness to all these things.
yeah, I guess at the end of the day, if something can spark discussion, and I guess that's at that point at the end of the day that the
It's being
the
discussed.
Kotaku article has sparked discussion,
Yeah, but
then that's absolutely fine.
yeah,
Publicity.
but it's well, no, it's
Look at
oh,
Elon
yeah,
Musk. He just sparks the discussions about all of his stuff that he's doing, all of his companies and stuff like that.
Love
He
him,
doesn't.
hate him.
Yeah, he doesn't advertise. He literally sparks discussions. He's not afraid to send a message out on Twitter and spark more fluster and fury and all sorts of stuff, and it just keeps bringing what's it called, attention to his industries
well,
that
it's
are
like well, the mental health one is don't closet mental health, because it's seen as a shame.
oh yeah, no, don't.
But yeah, it's like it's why the slogan is "Don't closet mental health," and because it's like, oh, you can't talk about it, you shouldn't talk about it. It just pushes.
No,
It
you
just
have to.
it makes it makes taboo subjects. It makes it think like it's a taboo if you're not meant to talk about it or whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if there is content that's making you uncomfortable, you know that subject is uncomfortable.
All right. Well, that was a full hour stream.
Well, there we go.
We did a full hour instead of 45. Or Ryan's cheater of actually he was gonna cheat and cut it short, but it ended up going I think a full 45 minutes anyways. The one that he did by himself.
Yeah, but
So
maybe I'll throw in find big questions more often. And
yeah,
if there's any sort of big questions that anyone else wants to do, give us a message on the social media.
yeah, and don't forget to follow us.
Yeah, if you're on Twitch, follow us, and you'll know when this is all happening
We're-
again.
we're
And you'll be
gonna-
able to give those big questions
We're
Yeah,
we're
follow
watching
us.
you. We're
Yeah.
watching
right here. Yeah, Pete.
you. That was so funny. All of a sudden, this guy named Pete follows. He's like, "Okay, I'll follow. Don't go to my house."
Yeah, I'll just have you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you, Jennifer,
Yeah. And Stefan,
Jim.
Like,
but there is actually a Stefan watching us, so I'm watching him.
He's probably gone to bed. What?
+10.
And yeah, if you've seen this on YouTube when it comes out on the VOD tomorrow,
Give us
or when you see it,
a thumbs
Yeah.
up.
the thumbs up, like,
Like,
share,
share,
and
subscribe,
subscribe there as
subscribe.
well.
You
And
can
then
ring
at
our
that
bell.
point,
Ring the bell.
ring the bell.
Ring my bell.
And,
And
yeah, we're everywhere on audio. Everywhere.
any podcast place will have our podcast. So, thanks everybody for watching.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Bye.